Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Okay, I should have moved this microphone closer to my face here, but I'll repeat this again. My name is Ron Tyler. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to make sure we get started on a good way. We want to make sure we have quite a few people already watching this program. There's a lot of very important information we're going to give you today, and I'm telling you, we're going to blow your socks off. We're going to blow your socks off. What we have to tell you is very important. Okay? Could be very important for your families, could be very important for your own lives. We want you to take this program everywhere. After we get off the air today, or even before, we want you to take this program to your family, to your friends, your extended family, to your neighbors. We want to have you take it to your social media contacts and also to the people you work with. This program is a very important program. Okay, I'm just putting that out for you. We want to share it nationwide. Also, please, if you like what we're doing here today, please give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that this program is important to you and is vitally important for everybody throughout YouTube land, throughout their venue. It's important we get this message out. Okay, I've said that twice now. Please help us get this message out to as many people as possible. The first thing I want to do is talk about some bad politics that are going on in California. Watch this brief video for you. This will give you some idea what is happening in California. This is bad for families.
I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state legislator. And the bill I'm about to talk to you about, I voted against. It's Assembly Bill 495, and it is truly heinous and atrocious. It does allow strangers, non-relatives, to take custody of minor children away from parents and make all sorts of important decisions, including healthcare decisions, for those children. We're going to get to the provisions of the bill. We're going to sort out fact from fiction in just a moment. But I need to get your help because this bill should be on the front page of every newspaper and leading the coverage of every local news station. But it's not, because the liberal media in California, they protect liberal politicians. They're in on the scam. They're covering this stuff up. They don't actually cover important topics like we are trying to cover here at Reform California. You can help us spread the word in a couple ways. Number one, like this video and share it. We need to spread the word directly about AB 495 and this topic. Second, 84% of you are not subscribed to this channel. We put a new episode up every day at 5 o'clock, the news that you won't get from liberal media in California. So please subscribe to this channel and smash that notification button. And finally, we are a political movement. Reform California, we are building our support base across the state, and we want you to be part of that. Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Scroll down to the bottom, please, and sign up. If you're not signed up, you won't know about candidates we're supporting in your area. You won't get our voter guide, the plain English voter guide that we send out every election to give you a simple description of the ballot measures on your ballot. Remember, the politicians love to use deceptive titles to basically confuse and deceive voters. We endorse candidates for judge, for school board, all the way up to Congress and, of course, the state legislature. All of those endorsements will be delivered to your box, but you have to be signed up. So please sign up at the bottom of that website. We do not share or sell information. First name, last name, email, phone, and zip code. You will also get our weekly news update every Friday at 9 a.m. so that you know the stories that we're covering in one quick cheat sheet that you can share with your friends and family. All right, let's jump right into Assembly Bill 495. The backers of Assembly Bill 495 claim that they need this bill because ICE, the immigration agency, they're targeting the undocumented. and they're raiding schools. And maybe parents who are here undocumented will be taken out of the country and their children will be left behind. And who will care for the children?
You're not just getting annoying texts. Your data is being bought and
Okay. Give me a second to get rid of this ad here. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
So, Assembly Bill 495 is mistitled the Family Preparedness Plan Act of 2025. And it basically says that with all these undocumented people in the state, we need to make sure that if the parents are deported, that someone can authorize decisions, including medical care for their children, with or without consent. That's what the bill does. Now, mind you, they say it's for the undocumented, but the bill provisions do not just apply to undocumented people. So the first thing that is a red warning flag on this bill is that they say it's for undocumented, but it applies to any child, even a child of U.S. citizens. So that's a big red flag. It goes far beyond what the authors claim is the goal. The second thing is it allows a complete stranger to take custody of the children. And so here is the provision that I'm particularly concerned about. It's a caregiver authorization affidavit. It basically says, hey, I have been delegated the responsibility to care for this child and make decisions for this child in the absence of the parent. So this is Section 4 of AB 495. Section 6550 of the Family Code of the State of California, Government Code, is amended to read, a caregiver's authorization affidavit that meets the requirements of this part authorizes a caregiver 18 age or older who completes items 1 through 4 inclusive and signs the affidavit to enroll a minor in school and consent to school-related medical care on behalf of the minor. So this bill gives someone who meets the criteria that I'm going to lay out in just a moment the ability to transfer a child, enroll a child in school, and authorize medical care for that child. It says a caregiver who is a relative or non-relative extended family member has the same rights to authorize medical care and dental care for the minor under Section 2353 of the Probate Code. So that's a relative or non-minor. The medical care authorized by this caregiver, who's a relative or non-relative extended family member, may include mental health treatment. What sort of mental health treatment are we giving these kids? This raises the specter of the gender issue. This language here is very dangerous. It's not just school-related medical care. It is a full range of medical care. Go down here to who we are authorizing to play these roles. For purposes of this part, this section, the following terms shall have meanings. Person is any individual. Oh, wait, corporation, partnership, association, the state, city, county, zip code, city or county, or any public entity or governmental subdivision, or any other legal entity. Boy, a person is very broadly defined here. Non-relative, extended family member. So you would think that non-relative, but they're a member of the family? Well, what does that mean? It means any adult caregiver who has an established familial or mentoring relationship with the child, or who has an established familial relationship with a relative of the child. So, but back up here. It means any caregiver, and again, that's just a term of like, I'm going to care for this person. That's someone saying, hey, I'm going to be the caregiver. That's all you have to do is say, I'm a caregiver. I'm going to provide care. who has a familial relationship, okay, we could probably say, okay, if you're a family member, all right, at least we're in the ballpark. But what is this? Or mentoring relationship. What is a mentoring relationship? Very broadly defined. That's any stranger could say, I'm mentoring this person.
Do you understand what we're talking about here? Anybody. Anybody could take custody of your child. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter the time of day. Doesn't matter what week we're in. Anybody can come and take your child and say, we have a mentoring relationship and I'm going to take custody of your child. That's all they have to do. They don't have to say another word. They can take your child and do away with you. Okay? That's where I'm talking about. This is the state of California. This is a state of California. This is a state of new scum. Okay? They are trying to take away our children to raise them as they will. That's why we're talking about this now. I wanted to bring this up because the California State Legislature is talking about this right now. Senate Bill 594. Remember that. Senate Bill 594, State of California. They want to come for our children. It doesn't matter whether they are in school. They can take the child from school. They can take the child from a ball game, an extracurricular affair. They can take your child from your home. They don't have to have much of a reason. Oh, we're going to be a caregiver. We are a caregiver. That's all they have to say. We are a caregiver. We have a mentoring relationship. They don't have to prove anything else. They want to take control of our children, guys. They want to make sure they control the world. Okay? I'm just bringing this to your faces, to your eyes. Everybody needs to see this, guys. Now, where does this come from? Why is this going on? Because the Trump administration has clearly stated the families are families, cannot be separated. That the schools cannot take our children and put them in front of a LGBTQ trans individual to be educated. For that trans individual to be parading around in lingerie. Remember what I told you last week? Where that trans man, that man who is parading around as a woman, trying to teach young people, and I'm talking anywhere from 10 on down to 1. Yeah. Trying to teach them about menstruation, a woman's issue. And that man even had a jar with red colored liquid in it. This has no place in our homes. It has no place in our society. The deep state is trying to take control of our children and our families. This is how they're going to do it. Those of you who live in California, you must get hold of your legislators and tell them to stop this bill. It has no place in our states. It has no place in our laws. It has no place in our families. This bill is just meant to separate families. That's all it is. Okay? I don't like talking about politics. Yes, I've talked about politics off and on. But again, this bill is set to destroy families. That's what it's set to do. It's all up to all of us to stand up and say, no, we're not going to put up with it. And then to hold those lawmakers responsible. We need to get those lawmakers out of the seats that they occupy. We must revoke their privilege to be legislators. We must recall them. We must vote them out and get rid of them. And put people in who will do what we want them to do. not what they want to do. That's what's important. Aveyah says, what happened to America? Unbelievable. I agree. This is exactly what I'm saying. What happened to America? This has been going on for some 60, 70 years. It cannot be allowed to continue. 60 to 70 years, we had our hands on people's necks, not allowing them to do this. They would not have even thought of this. But all of a sudden, because of what's been going on in our society since about 2009 with Obama and Biden, now we have a problem. And we must take care of it. Hardneck Farms is here in the chat saying we're having earthquakes in Oklahoma. Yes, you are. And it's not sonic booms. It's not sonic booms. You are having earthquakes caused by oil and gas fracking operations. You're having earthquakes as a result of oil and gas fracking operations. When I got into the database of earthquakes and such in Oklahoma, all of a sudden it shut me out. As soon as I got in, they shut me out because they know what I'm looking for. They know what I'm trying to do. They know that I am putting this information out to all of you. Now, the fact of the matter is, I have a database right now to talk to you about the New Madrid fault. And that's what I plan to do. But first, before I do that, we had another earthquake in New Jersey today. Let me show you this short video here. You need to know about this.
We are continuing to follow some breaking news as an earthquake has been reported in New Jersey, just miles away from New York City. I did want to share this social media post from Fox 5 New York saying a 2.7 magnitude earthquake reportedly struck New Jersey just outside of New York City at around 12:11 p.m. according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Meanwhile, this is a live look right here, courtesy of EarthCam of New Jersey. And you can see the wind whipping around right there, but the water, thankfully, is remaining calm. So the latest information is this: a 2.7 magnitude earthquake reportedly hit New Jersey just outside of New York City today, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The earthquake itself happened near Hillsdale, New Jersey. That is about 25 miles northwest of Midtown Manhattan. So the latitude and longitude of the quake's epicenter point was an address on Viola Terrace in nearby Westwood, if you are familiar with that area. And reaction at this hour continues to pour in from folks who felt the shaking. In fact, one user on X posted, "Why did my building just shake again?" The Bergen County's Office of Emergency Management is now assessing damage, but so far, no damage has been reported. No injuries have been reported either. And to give you greater context, this particular earthquake, the 2.7, comes just days after a 3.0 magnitude earthquake shook the New York metropolitan area on Saturday night. That was felt throughout New York City all the way up until to Connecticut, according to the Associated Press. In that particular instance, there were no reports of serious injuries or significant damage. But as you can imagine, there is concern over structural integrity. Could any damages have been buildings? Could they have been compromised? Tunnels, et cetera, right there. Given the density of this area, as we take a look at this is a beautiful skyline of New York City. Millions of people live in this area. And so even though it's a relatively mild earthquake at 2.7 magnitude, and unfortunately that live look just shifted away from there, we're going to head back to New Jersey right now. There continues to be the concern because it is so heavily densely populated. So officials right now, working to determine, whether there are any structural integrity issues of the sort. Right now, though, no reports of any damage or injuries. Okay,
no reported damage or injuries over in New Jersey. Let me explain something about this earthquake. It was a 2.7 minor earthquake. 2.0 to 2.9 are considered to be minor earthquakes. Now let's stop right there and talk about what could have happened today. Number one, where did it happen? New Jersey. What kind of bedrock exists in New Jersey? Granite? Hard rock? Yes, that is old bedrock. That area is not, I'm not talking about the cartoon character Flintstones at all. I'm being serious. What kind of bedrock exists there? This is part of the rock that existed for eons, literally eons. Okay? Hard bedrock. That's number one. Seismic waves travel very well through hard bedrock. Okay? That's number one. So we have a minor earthquake that exists now, and we have seismic waves traveling. Okay? Yes, because it is a minor earthquake, there are seismic waves traveling. Now, it is echoing. That seismic energy is echoing like this. It's being felt. Even though it's minor, it's felt. Usually nobody feels any kind of minor earthquake at all. They don't feel 2.0 to 2.9 earthquakes. They start to feel earthquakes when they're 3.0 and larger. 3.0, 3.9 are considered to be small earthquakes. But because one, the bedrock it's in, and two, the size of earthquake it is, they're feeling it. Now the reporter here mentioned that there could be damage to infrastructure. Yes, they're checking that. However, a 2.7 earthquake is not going to cause damage to anything at all. Yes, it could shake you. Yes, it could rattle your feet. Just like a small earthquake does, it could rattle your feet just like this. It's a vibrational earthquake. That's all. It's not going to cause damage or anything like that. But remember this. About 2 years ago, we had a 5.1 earthquake in the same location. A 5.1 earthquake in the same location. We have an earthquake fault there that is shaking. Okay, why? Why is it shaking? Because we have offshore in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. We have the Mid-Atlantic Fault. The Mid-Atlantic Fault, as I have explained before, is expanding like this. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding like this. Think of it as the middle of the Atlantic Ocean expanding. The fault itself below the water is expanding like this. It's pushing Europe and Africa in an easterly direction. It's pushing Greenland, Canada, the United States, and Mexico in a southwesterly direction. That's where this energy is coming from. Okay? The Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding, and as a result, we're having pressure on the East Coast. We're having pressure on the mid part. Well, let me say, we're having pressure on the Appalachian Mountains. We're having pressure on the coastal areas that is putting pressure on the Appalachian Mountains, which is Eastern Continental Divide. That's what's causing these earthquakes. They're going to continue. Now, as for Oklahoma, we don't have sonic booms. What you are hearing is the earth moving. The plates grinding like this. You're also hearing the earth moving because of faulting. Okay? Faulting. Yes, there are some earthquake faults out in Oklahoma, Kansas, and also in Nebraska, yes. But what you are seeing, what you are hearing in those areas is you are having these man-made earthquake faults, drill points, where they drilled for oil and gas. Okay? Seismic energy coming from the west hits those drill points. Hits those holes in the ground. Man-made earthquake faults. When the seismic energy comes from the west and hits those drill points, it's causing rock fracturing. You're hearing ground movement. You're hearing the ground grind. Okay? That's what's happening. Yes, it can be unnerving. Now, we have Tinker Air Force Base, which is a major Air Force base in Oklahoma. I've been in contact with Tinker, and they say they have no planes out there that are causing the sonic booms. Okay? What we're feeling, what we are seeing in Oklahoma, has everything to do with seismic energy. It might continue for a while. Okay? But even USGS is not even saying much about any kind of earthquakes in Oklahoma. They're not showing it. They're not showing it. Let's go over to the USGS map for just a minute. Let me take down our EMA banner. Let's take down our webcam. As I said before, we have this earthquake in New York here. Okay? 2.7 in New York here, near Hillsdale, New Jersey. Okay? That happened. That happened. Let's go further over here into Oklahoma here. Look at this. We're seeing one earthquake here in Kansas. It's a 3.3 small earthquake here. Again, let's zoom in and take a look at it. Okay? Here you see a small farm here. Okay? I don't see any kind of, within 6 miles radius, I don't see any kind of oil and gas fracking operation happening here. I don't see it. Okay? And this is as close as we're going to get with this particular map. I don't see any oil and gas fracking operations happening in this area. So it's my judgment that this is an earthquake here. An earthquake. Why? Why do you think we have an earthquake here? What do you think caused it? There's an earthquake fault over here. There's an earthquake fault. What is this? What is this right there? That's a fault zone. That's a fault zone here. Okay? So we have an earthquake fault here. Okay? Let's back out here over Oklahoma now. Okay? Oklahoma City, we have Tinker Air Force Base there. But this earthquake is up north, right here. This is a 1.8 tremor up here near Hunter, Oklahoma. 4 miles west-southwest of Hunter, Oklahoma. Let's move in here. We've had numerous earthquakes here in the past few days. Let's move in here. Already, right here, we have an oil and gas plot right there. That's oil and gas. Over here, right next to it, is another oil and gas plot right there. It's small, but you can see it here. Okay? Up here to the north right there is a tiny oil and gas plot here with a road leading to it. Okay? We have another right here. Okay? Down here, over here to the east, we have 2 more here. Okay? Oil and gas. Anytime we have an oil and gas drilling facility or a former hole in the ground where they did some oil and gas exploration, it still doesn't matter. There's a hole in the ground, and when seismic energy comes from the west and sees these man-made holes, all of a sudden it causes earth movement. Man-made earthquake fault. Now, there are a lot more earthquakes than this, but they're just not showing it. They will never admit at all what's actually going on. Now, let me bring up my map here on my device. Earlier we had some earthquakes showing here. Let's see if they're still showing here. All right. Actually, they're not. They're not showing, but that one in Kansas and that one over in near Hunter, Oklahoma. That's all they're showing. Okay. Let's briefly go back to our webcam and I'll show you exactly what we're showing here. The same two earthquakes in Kansas and Oklahoma, Hunter, Oklahoma. That's it. That's all. Now, someone asked me earlier, I believe it was my dear friend, my sister Heather, Hurricane Heather's, you know her here on the chat. She asked what these were. This is on the New Madrid Fault. These lines represent earthquake faults over here along the New Madrid Fault. Okay, let me pull back the USGS map here and we'll talk about the New Madrid Fault right now. I want everybody to understand what's going on with the New Madrid Fault. They're not showing any earthquakes whatsoever. They're not showing any earthquakes whatsoever here on the New Madrid Fault. But what I'm going to show you is going to be very surprising. What I'm going to show you tonight is going to be very surprising because we do have earthquakes and we have numerous earthquakes and we have a lot of 3.0 to 3.5 earthquakes here on the New Madrid Fault today. Okay. Jamie Wilkes here in the chat asking the question, Ron, can there be a 10.0 earthquake? Is that possible? Yes, it is. It's very possible, especially out west. And I'm pointing mostly to California. Yes, we are going to have a Cascadia megathrust earthquake over in the Pacific Northwest, right here. We've been talking about the Cascadia for years now. We talked about it again yesterday. When this earthquake goes, it's going to be a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. Now, back in the 80s, back in the 1980s, there was a movie produced that had a lot of stars in it. Great big, lot of California actors and actresses in that movie. Okay? That was called 10.0, the California quake. It was based on the San Andreas Fault shaking to a great extent that was going to destroy the state of California, based on a 10.0 earthquake. Based on a 10.0 earthquake. Okay? Now, is it possible? Yes, it's very possible. Yesterday we talked about the California San Andreas Fault. We talked about Los Angeles. We specifically talked about the Cascadia subduction zone and why we could have a major quake there and up north near Haida Gwaii at the Haida Gwaii megathrust earthquake. We're going to have a megathrust earthquake at Haida Gwaii just north of there, north of the Cascadia, where they used to call Queen Charlotte Island. They now call it Haida Gwaii. Just west of Haida Gwaii along a fault zone that's right next to the island. That is not just a fault. They used to believe that was a strike slip fault. They used to believe it was a strike slip fault, just like the New Madrid Fault is. This is Haida Gwaii here. Again, we're talking about what we talked about last night. I'm only going to be here briefly. That fault zone that runs along the west side of Haida Gwaii is not just a strike fault similar to the San Andreas. This is a mega thrust fault zone, just like Cascadia is. So there is going to be a mega thrust earthquake here. There's also going to be a mega thrust earthquake down here along the coastline of Washington and Oregon. One fault can trigger the other here. One earthquake can trigger the other here. But off the coast of California, there is a very good chance we could have a 10.0 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. On the San Andreas Fault. I want to make sure everybody is aware of that. Okay? It can happen. It could happen at any time. Now, what I'm going to talk about tonight is on the San Andreas Fault. USGS is showing 269 earthquakes worldwide. We know that's wrong because we know, and I've shown this to you and I'm going to show it again tomorrow, in Los Angeles area alone, in the Los Angeles, Orange County area, every day we have 400 earthquakes. 400 earthquakes just in that area, another 500 over in the Imperial County area of Southern California. Not just that, we have earthquakes in San Diego County as well. That totals over 900 earthquakes right there. 900 earthquakes right there. It's almost an embarrassment to talk about because the agency that I admired for so long, the same agency that I admired from a teenager, I looked up to. I got my degree in geology and earthquake science because I wanted to go into space. I wanted to be an astrogeologist. But now the USGS has made it embarrassing because the USGS has lied and lied and lied. They cannot tell the truth at all. In my opinion, they don't know the truth at all. They don't know the truth, and they couldn't even see the truth if it stared them in the face. That's what's sad. That's what's sad. Okay, there's something else that I probably ought to talk about too. Okay? Yes, we can have a 10.0 earthquake down here in the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone here. The USGS is showing a 1.8 tremor here, just off the coast of Petrolia, California, on the northern part of the San Andreas Fault. Okay? Further south down here along the coastline of California, Point Lopez, or Lopez Point here. This is south of the San Francisco Bay Area, south of Monterey Bay. This is again off the coast. This is a 1.1 tremor here. North of Santa Barbara here, Los Alamos, California. This is a 2.4 earthquake here. Okay? Up here on the San Andreas. This is the Pinnacles. This is just south of Monterey Bay. Here at the Pinnacles, we just don't have the San Andreas Fault. We have oil and gas exploration taking place here as well. Oil and gas plots all over this area, pumps and jacks pumping oil and gas all day long, 24/7. We have a 1.8 tremor here. 1.8 tremor. Just north of Monterey here, I'm not saying north, east of Monterey Bay here, we have a 1.7 tremor here on the Hayward Fault. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not the Hayward Fault, that is the San Andreas Fault right there. The Hayward Fault is further to the east. This is a 1.7 tremor on the San Andreas Fault here. Okay? Down here, we have no earthquakes at all until we get down here into LA area. right here. Rialto. This is 1.1 tremor here. You don't see any actual earthquakes anywhere along the San Andreas Fault once it gets south of Rialto. Actually, you don't see any earthquakes at all on the San Andreas Fault once it leaves the Pinnacles. Okay? That's so wrong. That is so wrong. There are earthquakes all over this area. There are earthquakes everywhere, guys. USGS just did not want to show them to you. Just like they're not going to show you any earthquakes here on the Pneumatic Fault. And what I'm going to show you today is going to astound you. It's going to blow you away. We have earthquakes up and down the entire fault. Now, as I have said before, I've said a lot. Okay? Up until 3 years ago, we had very little earthquakes at all on the Pneumatic Fault. All they were are tiny tremors. That's all that was happening. Yes, there are still tremors here on the Pneumatic Fault, but now it's gotten larger. It's gone from tremors on up to minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes, and all the way up to 3.0, 3.5, and even 4.0 earthquakes here on the Pneumatic Fault. It's graduated. The intensities of the earthquakes has increased. The number of earthquakes has also increased. I'm going to show you that tonight. Okay? And the places that these earthquakes are occurring at is also going to blow your mind. Okay? So let's take a look at that right now. Okay? Let's go over here to the Pneumatic Fault here. This is Catfish Pond, Arkansas. Catfish Pond is right next to, on the west side of the Pneumatic Fault, literally right alongside the fault. Look at the earthquakes we're having here. Let me blow this up so you can truly see what I'm saying. This earthquake on this red line here, this occurred at approximately 7:27 a.m. this morning. 7:27 a.m. this morning. This earthquake, just as it looks right now, would say this is a 3.0 earthquake. However, the top and the bottom of this earthquake sequence has been cut off. That means this earthquake was a lot stronger than what they're showing it. We've explained this before. This earthquake, they do not want us to see the exact strength of this earthquake. That's why they cut it off. But just this earthquake, as it shows now, is a 3.0 earthquake. However, we know it's at least a 3.5 to 4.0 earthquake here. On the west side, in Arkansas, on the Pneumatic Fault. Yes, Charlene, the Pneumatic Fault exists because it's being pressurized. Again, we go back to the Atlantic Fault, the Mid-Atlantic Fault, pushing North America in a southwesterly direction. That pressure from the East Coast is putting pressure on the east side of the Pneumatic. And all those earthquakes we saw, I just showed you on the West Coast, all that seismic energy is going east. So we have pressure on the eastern side or the western side of the fault. So literally the Pneumatic Fault is getting squeezed. Okay? You notice here also on this seismograph, you're seeing tremors here. You're seeing all kinds of tremors even before 6:15 this morning. After 6:15 this morning, nothing but tremors. Before that, you see some microquakes at best. Nothing stronger than a microquake here. But after 6:15 on this red line, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We go over here to 6:21 a.m. We see a 1.2, maybe a 1.3 tremor. We have another tremor after 6:45 this morning on the left-hand side. We have more long duration tremor activity after 7 a.m. You can see here on the black line here. But on the next red line, you have this 3.5, 4.0 earthquake here at Catfish Pond, Arkansas. After that, we have a bunch more tremors. Right before 10 a.m. this morning. Then after that, what happens here? We drop down to 10 a.m. this morning. At approximately 10:02 a.m., almost 10:03, we have another 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 earthquake. We see tremors right before that and tremors after that. Tremors after that are part of what they call the secondary wave. Secondary wave. Okay? We drop down after that, and on the green line over here in the center here, this is all tremors here. 1.3, 1.4 tremor here on that green line. We drop down here to 11:15 on the red line. We go over to the right. Just before 11:19 a.m. this morning on the red line. You're seeing more tremors there. Then on the blue line below that, the blue line on the left-hand side is 11:30. We go over here, starting about 11:31, we have tremors building up. 11:32, tremors are still building up, 1.2 tremors. Within about 30 seconds, the tremors increase drastically. Then all of a sudden we have a 2.8, 2.9, and probably a 3.0 earthquake here. We can't see the bottom of this earthquake sequence because it goes off the chart onto the next seismograph. This is at least a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. 11:33, 11:34 a.m. here. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. Catfish Pond, Arkansas. Imagine that. Who would have thought? What happened at Catfish Pond this afternoon? Look at this. Look at this. Look at all these earthquakes this afternoon. We had some tremor activity building up to a 2.0 earthquake just after 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 12:20 this afternoon. 2.0, maybe 2.4 earthquake, tops. Then we dropped down to 1:30 this afternoon. The top and the bottom of these earthquake sequences have been cut off. All of these earthquakes that you see here are at least 3.5 to 4.0 earthquakes here at Catfish Pond, Arkansas. People reported it. People felt these earthquakes. Okay? The first one starts just before 1:31 a.m. or 1:31 p.m. this afternoon. That earthquake lasted over 2 minutes. That particular earthquake lasted over 2 minutes. The shaking didn't stop. The shaking did not stop. The shaking subsided somewhat down to maybe 2.7, 2.8 earthquake, but it continued. Then it subsided to 2.0. 2.0 about a minute, minute and a half. Then it built up again to at least a 3.5, 4.0 earthquake. And this earthquake lasted over 3 minutes. This particular earthquake sequence lasted over 3 minutes. How would you like your house to shake for 3 minutes? That's what happened here. This is exactly what happened here. Then further down that same blue line, okay, approximately 140, I want to say 142, 143 this afternoon. Another sequence here. That sequence lasted almost 40 seconds. Again, the top and the bottom were cut off. 3.4, 3.5 earthquake at least. But it didn't stop. On the next line below that, on the green line, you see some shaking happening here. And we can't see everything because it was covered up by earthquakes happening after that. Then we have a black line, which is 2 p.m. We can't see much of anything happening on the black line except over on the left-hand side. We can just barely see black coloring there. So we know there was shaking sometime after 2 p.m. this afternoon. Then after 2:15, on the red line, we have more shaking. At 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At 2:20 this afternoon, 2.5, 2.6 earthquake, possibly even a 2.7 earthquake on the red line over there in the center left. Then we still have shaking going on. Shaking going on for about 2.5 minutes. That is tremor activity. Then that tremor activity increases to at least 2.4, 2.5 earthquake, minor earthquake. Within about 30 seconds, it increases up to 3.0 and larger. And you can see where this earthquake sequence goes. It's cut off at the bottom and top as well. 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes here. That shaking sequence lasted 3 minutes. But it didn't stop. It continued on. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. 5 minutes. From the time this shaking started till the time it ended, it was 5.5 minutes. But it didn't stop. It continued. 2.5, 2.6, 2.8, 2.0 off to the right here on the red line. Then what happens after that? On the blue line just after that. 2:30 this afternoon. The shaking continues again. This time it's 3.5, probably 4.0 earthquakes here at Catfish Pond, Arkansas. And yet, the USGS is still not showing it on the USGS map. They show that 2.7 over New Jersey, but they're not showing this sequence of activity here. Why not? Why not, guys? They don't want to worry anybody. They don't want anybody to think that something's going on. But it's very apparent that it is. It is very apparent what's going on here. They can hide it. They can try to cover it up. But the activity still exists. Renee Steffi's here in the chat. She talked about thunderstorms, and she's talking about tornadic activity and also flood advisories. Okay? I want to go back here to what Renee Steffi's talking about. We want to make sure we're putting this information out as well. Okay? Renee Steffi said at about 5:10 p.m. Eastern Time, a flood advisory for Jacksonville, Florida, St. John's, Florida, minor flooding and low-lying and poor drainage areas. They're getting a lot of rain coming off the Atlantic Ocean. There's a low pressure system out there pushing off to the west. Okay? Let's continue here. Okay? Pre-Tribe Truth is saying we had 7 inches of rain in an hour yesterday. We had some rain here. It literally rained all day, but it was not heavy. It was just light rain all day long here in North Carolina. Pre-Tribe Truth is saying second time this year, entire yard and garden flooded 6 inches deep. Never in 50 years we've been here have we seen that before. Weather changes, weather modification. That's what's causing that. Rebecca the Explorer said that there was a beach hazard statement issued today at 8 p.m. Eastern Time by the National Weather Service in Wakefield, Virginia. Beach hazard statement, more rain here. And also ocean current advisory there. That's why they have a beach hazard statement. Renee Sevi said at 4:09 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which is just about 40 minutes ago. Okay, a flood advisory was issued by the National Weather Service at 6:15 p.m. Central Time, which is going to be in another 20 minutes. National Weather Service, New Orleans, Louisiana, for St. Taname, Louisiana, Hancock, Mississippi, Harrison, Mississippi, and Pearl River, Mississippi, a flood advisory. That area of the central United States is getting hammered on the pneumatic fault, I might add. Okay, it's getting hammered. Shirley is saying, do you know the melting point of igneous metamorphic rock? In my view, magnetic anomaly supercharged ions trigger earthquakes on the Madrid seismic zone. It happens. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. But it's not the electromagnetic anomalies that are triggering earthquakes. It's not. The Madrid fault is getting squeezed from the east and getting squeezed from the west. Also, we have seismic energy coming up from the Gulf into the Madrid seismic zone. Okay, that's also adding to it. Guys. Renee Stevie said at 3:59, the National Weather Service issued another flood advisory for New Orleans, Louisiana, LaForge, Louisiana, Terrebonne, Louisiana, minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas, water over the roads. You folks that are in the Madrid seismic zone down in Louisiana, you need to be careful. Do not cross flooded roadways. Turn around, don't drown. Stay out of flooded roadways. Don't cross it on your foot, or don't cross it by foot, I should say, and don't cross it by vehicle. We talked about water crossing the road can undermine the road bed underneath the road and could collapse the road. And if you drive across it, your car could become stuck and the road collapse. Then you're stuck in a raging river. You don't want that. Stay out of the water, turn around, don't drown. Turn around, don't drown. Now, Rebecca the Explorer here is talking about, is talking about the melting point of igneous rock, 1,800 degrees Celsius, 3,270 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, now that melts at that range. However, that's what they call magma. That is what magma does. That is the temperature of magma. That's the temperature of magma, guys. That's the temperature of magma. Renee Sevi says a flood advisory has been issued today at 5:48 p.m., which just happened just about 5 minutes ago, until 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time today. The National Weather Service, Charleston, South Carolina, for Beaufort, South Carolina, Clarkson, South Carolina, Colleton, South Carolina, Hampton, South Carolina, and Jasper, South Carolina. Be very wary, guys. Be very wary. Flood advisory. We've had a lot of rain coming in. We're going to have rain coming in for the next 24 to 48 hours. Stay out of the water. Again, don't walk through it. Don't drive through it. Stay off the roadways. Don't cross flooded areas. Renee Sevi says a severe thunderstorm warning issued today at 3:45 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time over in Pueblo, Colorado. For Baca, Colorado, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Severe thunderstorm warning. Severe thunderstorm warning for coming out of Pueblo, Colorado. For Baca, Colorado, 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail. Another severe thunderstorm warning coming out of Bismarck from the National Weather Service for Dickey, North Carolina. Ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds there. Guys, I used to live in North Carolina, or North Dakota, I'm sorry. I used to live in North Dakota. I know exactly what that's like. You guys need to see cover now when that happens. Go into a building, go in a very sturdy house and stay there. Okay? Jay Hart says, yep, Renee can see it growing south of here. Pikes Peak out the back window towards Pueblo. I've hiked Pikes Peak. I've been over in that Pikes Peak wilderness before camping. Okay? That's what's going on there, guys. Renee Seppi's also had another severe thunderstorm warning issued by the Weather Service coming out of Bismarck, North Dakota for Kidder, North Dakota. Stutzman, North Dakota. Again, ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Okay? Charlene, I wish you'd stick with what we're talking about here. Stick with what we're talking about. We're not talking about cosmic energy storms right now. Yes, that happens. We've talked about the sun and what's launched out from the sun before. Let's talk about earthquakes, guys. Yes, the sun launches out plasma radiation. We have cosmic radiation from deep in the solar system and out into space, interstellar space. All that radiation will heat up the base, the plates, and heat up the core of the Earth. Yes, it happens. It happens. And cumulative volcanic eruptions will happen, but they will not facilitate plate mud melt. Okay? They won't do it. Charlene, don't talk about this again during this program. If you want to talk about it, advise me ahead of time on our email. Send me an email. You see our email address going across the bottom of your screen, down underneath, just below this video program here today, in the top of our program description, you'll also see our email address. Email me. Email me specifics of what you'd like me to speak about, and I will. But today's program is just about the new Madrid fault. And yes, I will talk about the weather as well. Okay, I will do that. But let's talk about what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I will delete any further actions you take here in the chat. I want you to talk about, and we want to make sure everybody understands what's going on here. I'm in control here. This is my house. This is my house. What I say goes. Okay, I'm sorry about that, but that's the way it is. Renee Steffi says a flash flood warning has been issued in Bryan, Georgia, Chatham, Effingham, Georgia. Emergency management is reporting cars being flooded. Be very careful, guys. As I said, if you're in those areas with flash flood warnings and rain coming down, you know there's going to be flooding. Do not cross flooded roadways or your car will be carried downstream. And you'll be stuck and you'll put officers and firefighters' lives in danger trying to rescue you. Please don't do that. Renee Sevi says another severe thunderstorm warning has been issued out of Charleston for Colton, South Carolina, Hampton, South Carolina, Jasper, South Carolina, includes I-95 in South Carolina between mile markers 3756. That's what's happening. Okay. Again, we're getting back to this slide I put up here of Catfish Pond, Arkansas. We need to talk about it. It's happening. It's happening. Now I want to go also over to Marktree, Arkansas. Marktree, Arkansas on the east side of Arkansas. Look what's happening here. Okay, up until about 5 months ago, Marktree, Arkansas was showing us 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here every day, multiple times a day, all day long. Now what we're seeing here at Marktree, Arkansas is long-term tremor and long-term earthquake activity, meaning earthquakes and tremors lasting not just 2 or 3 minutes, but even 15 or 20 minutes. For example, let's look at the top of this seismometer here. This is this morning in Marktree, Arkansas. Just after 12:30 on the top blue line here. That is long-term tremor activity. It lasted 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. On the green line, just below that, earthquake activity. It starts off with tremors, then it turns to 2.5, 2.7, 2.8 magnitude earthquake activity, then it reduces back to tremors and finally dissipates. Then after 2:30 this morning on this blue line, we start off with tiny tremors, 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Then all of a sudden over here in the center right-hand side, okay, this was approximately 2:40, 2:39, 2:40 a.m. this morning, 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes, building up to 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 earthquake here at approximately 2:41, 2:42 this morning. The seismic activity didn't end there. The large size, I can't say large, the small earthquakes that we're hitting here, it lasts over 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. 3.0 activity at approximately 2:30, 2:41 this morning. It continued to last for another 2 minutes after that. You can see that. That's tremendous pressure here on the New Madrid Fault over in Arkansas. Look at these tremors and earthquakes here. Long duration tremor activity here. Coming down here to after 9 a.m. this morning on the black line. You can see these long duration tremors turning into 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes, and then reducing down to minor earthquakes 2.0 and all the way down to tremors again. Look at that. Guys, it's happening. It's happening. We've been talking about it for a long time. This is Marktree, Arkansas this afternoon. I pulled this seismometer here just after 2:30 this afternoon. Look at that. These are long duration tremors here in Martree, Arkansas this afternoon. But there's more. There's more. I want to go south now to Truman, Arkansas. Look at this. 1:30 this morning, we had tremors here, turning into minor 2.0 earthquakes here. Okay. Rebecca's asking everybody here, yes, you have questions, send them to my email and I will address them in my email unless these questions are pertinent to our topic that we're talking about right now. Otherwise, I'm going to be all over the place. I want to control the conversation here. Everybody's worried. Everybody's been asking me what's going on with the new matter fault. I'm showing you now. And this is just part of it. I just barely gotten into this today. On this red line after 2:15 this morning on the left-hand side. We go over here to about 2:22 a.m. this morning. Look at that. Another 3.0 earthquake here. Another 3.0 earthquake. 2.9, 3.0 activity out here. This earthquake lasted from the time the tremors first started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes long. From tremor start to tremor end, 9 minutes long. Unreal. Look at the rest of this tremor activity and minor 2.0, 2.8 activity here. Tyrons, Arkansas. I'm sorry, Truman, Arkansas. Let's go to Tyrons, Arkansas right now. You know, what did I do? I didn't put up, I'm sorry guys, I guess I don't have Tyrons, Arkansas here. That's really weird. I thought I did. Tyrons, Arkansas was just as bad, maybe worse. Tyrons, Arkansas showed 3.0 earthquakes frequently all day long. All day long. That is southern Arkansas along the Pneumatic Fault, along the Mississippi River. But we're not ended. We're not finished here. We're not finished by a long shot. Actually, look at this. This is Tyrons, Arkansas right here. Look at this. 3.0 earthquakes literally all day long here. The top of this is just, the top of this starts at midnight last night, midnight this morning, and just microquakes. Then all of a sudden, out of almost nowhere, just after 4:15 this morning, go over here to the center here. That's a 3.0 earthquake. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 4:24 this morning. 3.0 earthquake here in Tyrons, Arkansas. Then we had a bunch of tremors, and then we build up to minor earthquakes and 3.0 earthquakes after that. Look at this. Look at this. After 9:30 this morning, let's go over here and look at that earthquake after 9:30 this morning on the blue line. 3.3, 3.4 earthquake. 3.3, 3.4 earthquake right here. Okay. This earthquake happened at 9:36 this morning. These are small earthquakes. All of these are small earthquakes. So I've shown you small earthquakes, and I've shown you even earthquakes building up towards 4.0 earthquakes. That's not all, folks. There's more. There's a lot more. Tyrone, Arkansas this afternoon. Look at this. More 3.0 earthquakes. This afternoon after 12, I want to say 12. 12:13 this afternoon. That on the black line on the top right. That's a 3.2 earthquake. On the blue line after that in the center here. This is 12:32, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12:36 this afternoon. 3.2 earthquake. That might even be a 3.3. However, let's drop down here after 1:30 this afternoon over on the blue line on the left. 3.3, 3.4 earthquake here. Look at these small quakes. On and on and on. And this is just the west side of the pneumatic fault. This is just the west side of the pneumatic fault. We have not even gone over to Tennessee yet. Yes, we're going to talk about Tennessee and earthquakes happening over on the east side of the pneumatic fault as well. But I want to show you what's happening here. Okay? Let's go over here to Hatachikoon, Arkansas. Look at this. Earlier this morning after 12:15 on the red line, we had a 2.0 earthquake. We had another 2.2 earthquake just after 2:07 a.m. this morning. 2.0 earthquake. Nobody probably even felt that. But look what happens later this morning. Let's go over here after 9 a.m. on the left-hand side. Let's move over here to the right. 9:14 a.m. Hatachikoon, Arkansas. This is over just west. This is just north of Marktree and just west of there. Hatachikoon, Arkansas. Look at this. It's another 3.0 earthquake here. You see tremors all over this. Then on the bottom blue line down here, we have another 2.0 earthquake. Okay? It's not done. There's more. Hatachikoon, Arkansas this afternoon. Tremors building up to 2.7, 2.8 earthquake this afternoon after it's 2 on that red line here. That is 2:22 this afternoon. 2:22 this afternoon, we have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake there. These are the most earthquakes I've seen here on the pneumatic fault today. These are the most earthquakes, and I'm not just talking about minor tremors. I'm not just talking about 2.0, 2.9, but this is the most 3.0 and larger earthquakes we've seen here on the pneumatic fault today. But there's more. There's more. You guys asked, I'm telling you. Look at this. Up until now, we have not shown Leachville, Arkansas. Look what's happening here. This is just west of the Mississippi, just west of the pneumatic fault. Look what's happening here. Just after, I'm talking about that earthquake over on the right-hand side on the blue line. It's actually at 7:14 this morning. This is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. You see all kinds of other tremors here, and also 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes here. Then let's drop down here until we get to the red line here after 10:15. You see 10 o'clock in the morning here on the left-hand side. We go over here to about 10:19 a.m. here. We have another 3.0, 3.2 earthquake here. The sequence here lasts a minute and a half here. More small earthquakes here. Okay, then it diminishes and it continues over here on the right-hand side. Okay, this is 10:24 a.m. this morning. More 3.0 earthquakes. This 3.0 earthquake continues over on the left-hand side on the blue line. Notice how it's cut off at the bottom, and they're not quite showing the top here, but it's cut off at the top as well. 3.5 earthquakes here. 3.5 earthquakes here. This quake sequence lasts 3 minutes here. Then we have tremors after that, going far out to the right. Now, what have I told you about secondary quakes? What I've told you about the secondary system here. The secondary wave system here acts as a barometer for these earthquakes. We look at the secondary wave and then we say, wow, that earthquake was far larger than what they're saying it is. 3.5, 4.0 earthquake here. 3.5, 4.0 earthquake here in Leachville, Arkansas. Again, we're talking about larger and more frequent earthquakes. We're talking about larger and more frequent earthquakes here on the new Madrid fault zone. The whole place is moving. The whole place is moving. Renee Steffi saying another flood advisory issued from the National Weather Service, Wilmington, Ohio, for Boone, Kentucky, Kenton, Kentucky, Hamilton, Ohio. Minor flood in low-lying areas where poor drainage exists. If you guys are in Kentucky there, along the Ohio-Kentucky border, and over in Ohio as well, please take cover now. Do not stay in high floodway area places. Stay out of the water. Stay out of the water. Rebecca says Richard has a major wildfire in his area over in Nova Scotia. He's left the chat for the night. Major wildfire in Nova Scotia, Canada, eastern Canada. Sad. Sad. Even one of our own EMA family members is affected by that. Let's not forget our EMA family members in our prayers tonight. Pray for their safety. Pray for everyone's safety in those areas. Yes, we have fires in southwestern Canada. They're blowing smoke eastward into Canada and into the northern tier of the United States. We have fires in Oregon. We have fires in Washington. And we have fires in Northern California. We pray for our firefighters as well. But again, folks, here on the new Madrid fault, we've never seen these kinds of earthquakes before. Never. Not like this. The seismic energy has increased here. The seismic energy has increased, and the longevity of the earthquakes have also increased. Okay, the strength of the earthquakes has increased, and the severity of the earthquakes has been increased. The length of time the earthquakes exist are also increasing here, putting everybody in danger. Now I want to go over to north central Arkansas. It's not just along the New Madrid Fault anymore. It's not just about the New Madrid Fault. This is the Ozark Fault Center in north central Arkansas. Look at this. We're having 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here. Look at all these earthquakes this morning. This is all this morning since 9:30 this morning. 3.0 earthquakes back to back every minute, literally every 60 seconds all morning long. There are about 60 earthquakes here. There are about 60 earthquakes here. Unreal. Ozark Folk Center, Arkansas. We've never seen this before. We may not see it again. It didn't stop this afternoon either. It's continuing. This is the Ozark Folk Center this afternoon. Earthquakes here start up after 1:30 this afternoon. 1:30 this afternoon, all of a sudden they start up again. 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes literally all afternoon long. And I believe they're still happening now. What do you think about that, guys? We've never seen this happen before. Never happened. People are feeling these earthquakes as never felt earthquakes here on the Pneumatic Fault. Never again. But it's happening. Charlene is saying East Arkansas looks busy. Oh, yes, it is. And this is north central Arkansas here. This north central Arkansas here. Guys, we need to be concerned what's going on here. We have EMA family here in Missouri. We have EMA family in Arkansas. We have EMA family in Tennessee and Kentucky and Oklahoma. This is all happening, guys. This is all happening. Now, I want to show you Portisville, Missouri now. Portisville, Missouri. Look at this. We had tremor activity at midnight last night at the top black line. On the next red line here, on the left-hand side, that is 12:15 in the morning. Come over here in the middle. This is approximately 12:20, 12:21 this morning. 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. They might have been as large as 3.0 earthquakes here. This seismic sequence lasts over a minute and a half. However, let's go down here. Just after 6:15 in the morning, we come over here to approximately 6:22. 6:22 for about a minute and a half, we have a bunch of tremors. Then all of a sudden we have 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here. Again, the top of the quake sequence was cut off and the bottom was cut off as well. They don't want us to know the strength of this quake. But this is a big one. This is at least a 3.5, 4.0 earthquake here. Portisville, Missouri. This is right alongside the Pneumatic Fault in Missouri. Right alongside the Pneumatic Fault in Missouri. You can see the other tremors here as well. Portisville. I want to show you this because it's serious. This is very serious, guys. Like I said, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Not since I've been covering these earthquakes on the Pneumatic Fault. Like I said, 3 years ago, all this was tremors, nothing larger. Now we're not just having minor earthquakes, we're having 3.0, 3.5, and possibly even 4.0 earthquakes, which means we could have a pneumatic fault earthquake here. A pneumatic fault earthquake here, and I'm talking about an 8.0 to 9.0 earthquake here on the pneumatic fault very soon. I originally said it could be 2 years from now, but given the situation that we have here, that I'm showing you right now, if this continues, we could have a major earthquake here within the matter of months. Not just days, but months. Renee Seppi said the National Weather Service has issued a flood advisory, Jacksonville, Florida, for Flagler, Florida, major flooding in low-lying areas with poor drainage areas. Flagler, Florida, guys. Beware of that. Again, this is in Missouri here. I think I'm going to show you one more seismogram here in Missouri. Then I'm going to go over to over into Tennessee as well. Okay, let's see here. Where am I wanting to take you? Okay. I think what we're going to do is go over into Tennessee. Then I'm going to go over into Georgia after that. Okay? Let's go over into Tennessee now. I want to go to Halls, Tennessee now. Actually, no, let's go over to Cedars of Lebanon, Tennessee here. Cedars of Lebanon State Park in Tennessee. Look at this. This is this morning. I'm sorry, this was this afternoon. I didn't put up this morning's because there was nothing there. This is Halls, Tennessee this afternoon. Okay? This is approximately 1. This is 1:11 this afternoon. This is a 3.3 earthquake in Halls, Tennessee. 3.3 earthquake in Halls, Tennessee this afternoon. They're happening up and down the entire fault zone, east and west. Halls, Tennessee, right here. Look at this. We have 3.4, excuse me, not 3.4. We have 2.0, 2.4, 2.5, 2.8, 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. Okay? It's not all, folks, there's more. Let's take you over Ridgely, Tennessee. Now, the USPS has been showing us what is going on in Ridgely, Tennessee. Yesterday, they said in Ridgely, Tennessee, we had a 2.7 earthquake. Look at this. They're not showing anything in Ridgely, Tennessee at all. Here we have tremors and we have 3 almost back-to-back 2.0 earthquakes. 3 back-to-back 2.0 earthquakes here this morning. This morning after 9 a.m. Okay? Ridgely, Tennessee this morning. Let's look at Ridgely, Tennessee this afternoon. This is this afternoon, guys. Look at this. All we have is tremors until this happens this afternoon. This happened at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This 3.0 earthquake happened at approximately 1:37 this afternoon. 3.0 earthquake. 60 seconds later, we have a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake after that. Then more tremors. We've never seen this before. We've never seen this kind of activity before, ever. Never. You folks in the New Madrid seismic zone, you need to get ready. You need to make some decisions what you're going to do. We've talked about emergency planning here. We've talked a lot over the years about emergency planning. Are you guys ready for an earthquake here? Because that's what's coming. There's going to be a major earthquake here very soon. Okay? We're probably going to see a 5.0 earthquake, which is going to be a large earthquake here. We're probably going to see a 5.0 earthquake here in the next 2 months. Probably sometime in the next 2 months. And right after that, we may see another large earthquake than that. And then it's going to skyrocket. The seismic impulses will skyrocket. Do you realize what I'm talking about, guys? Does anybody realize exactly what I'm saying? Are you ready for the implications of a major earthquake in the central part of the U.S.? That's what we're talking about. This is exactly what we're talking about. Let's go over to the East Coast. Let's talk about Savannah, Georgia. Look at this. Good old Savannah, Georgia. Yes, we have a lot of tremors. But later this morning, we have some 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here. We have 4 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here this morning in Savannah, Georgia. We have tremors and we have minor earthquakes all the way up into North Carolina, Virginia, up and down the entire East Coast. We're having earthquakes. 2.7 in New Jersey. 2.0 over in Pennsylvania. 1.7 tremors in Pennsylvania as well. Usually in North Carolina, we've seen 3.0 earthquakes here in Roper, North Carolina, but things didn't happen that way. All we've seen here are tremors here in North Carolina. That's also going to change. It's also going to change. Jay Hart is saying, yes, Ron, it's getting sketchy. Jay Hart says, we wish we could help people understand. I severely say that. I'm saying severely. Sometimes I believe we need to knock some sense into some people because they don't get it. This is Savannah, Georgia this afternoon. While this is mostly tremors and minor earthquakes here, it's going to change. It's going to change. Yes, we had some 3.0 earthquakes here earlier. That's going to change. We're going to see more than just tremors and minor earthquakes. All up and down the coastline of the East Coast of the U.S. and also Canada. Things are changing and things are changing rapidly. C.J. Kelly says the Sabbath land at work and rest. Yeah. But this isn't stopping. This is not stopping. The seismic activity does not stop for Sunday. Work might stop for some people on Sunday, but the earthquakes continue. And they're going to continue. Sheila Danis in the chat, she's telling everyone there that lives in Memphis to get out. Memphis is going to hit. Memphis is going to get hit hard. I showed you earthquakes over on the west side of the New Madrid over in Arkansas. All over Arkansas. That energy is starting over in Memphis, Tennessee as well. We've seen 5.0 earthquake just a few months ago in Ridgely. We've seen 5.0 earthquakes in Ridgely, Tennessee before. We've seen those 3.0s and 4.0s as well. It's going to happen. Memphis is going to have that energy also increase itself. No, I did not find any kind of tremors or any kind of earthquakes at all in Memphis. I looked. There are 3 seismographs in Memphis. 3 seismographs in Memphis, and nowhere at all did they show any earthquake activity or even tremors, which is astounding to me because on the west side of the New Madrid Fault from Memphis, we have tons of earthquakes. Tons of earthquakes. Renee Stevie says a tornado watch has been issued out of Bismarck, North Dakota for Burley, North Dakota, Dickey, North Dakota, Emmons, North Dakota, Grant, North Dakota, Morton, North Dakota, Auburn, North Dakota, Sioux, North Dakota, and Stutzman, North Dakota. A tornado watch, guys. A tornado watch. It goes until 10 p.m. tonight, which is another 3 hours here. Another 3 hours here. Things are happening, guys. Happening all over. Is anybody paying attention? I hope you are. I'm not trying to put you down, but I'm asking, is anybody really paying attention? I'm worried for everybody. I'm very worried because I feel like nobody even is paying attention at all. We get people here that tune into our program and they leave within 9 or 10 minutes. I've been watching that for months now. Yes, we've had some times when people watching this program are here for 15 or 20 minutes, but it's few and far between. I think they come here, they see what we're talking about and leave. If you're not here to watch this program, why are you here at all? Everybody that's here watching this program or tunes into this program needs to stay for an entire program. Yes, I understand that people have things to do, but stay tuned. Listen to the information we're giving you. It's important. The information we're giving you can save your life. Watch our program. Listen to our program, guys. Information here can save your life. There's another tornado watch for South Dakota coming out of Aberdeen for Brown, South Dakota, Campbell, Corson, Dewey, Edmonds, Falk, Hand, Hughes, and Hyde, South Dakota. Be very careful, guys. Tornado watch. Guys, I'm asking all of you. I've asked you before this. I'm going to ask you again. Tune into our program. Watch our program. YouTube also pays attention to the people who are watching our program and how long you're here. They judge the analytics by that. the number of thumbs up that we get, the time that people are here watching our program, and also the number of people who watch our program. The numbers are up. Numbers are definitely up. We want you to watch this program because we're giving life-saving information to you. We're telling you about obstacles, emergencies, and disasters that are happening around you. Yes, we have a lot of people here in the new Madrid seismic zone. I understand that. That's why we put this program here today. Like I've said, and I've shown you the information, we've had an increase in seismic activity, the number of earthquakes, the longevity of those earthquakes, and the size of the earthquakes have all increased. At some point in time, the earthquakes are going to be so strong and last for such a long time that buildings are going to shake. Homes are already shaking. Buildings and homes are going to shake, and they're going to come apart. No doubt. They're going to come apart. Okay? There is an air quality alert issued by the Weather Service for State College, Pennsylvania, Porter, North Clinton, and Southern Clinton wildfire smoke. Wildfire smoke, guys. These smoke advisories probably will come into most of the United States within the next few days. Most cities, counties, and states will have air quality alerts coming within the next few days, and they'll probably last again throughout the summer, throughout the rest of the summer. That's pretty sad. Kathy Knight says here in the chat, thank you for being here, Kathy. She says, glad to be here enjoying your show in the safety of the Lord. I'm glad. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad it's safe for you. I'm glad it's safe for you. Those people here in the Madrid seismic zone, the people in California, the people in the Pacific Northwest, look out. Look out. Things are coming. Things are coming that aren't going to be pleasant at all. And Pickering says, I've watched your program since you started. Just didn't know how to get you. Oh, her son showed her how to do it. That's great. Paulette Hammond Overson Dwerson. Paulette Hammond Dwerson says, I'm sitting in my car in the garage, checking all my favorite channels to see what's going on. But I have groceries, need to cook dinner. I'm just got to go. I'll give you a thumbs up. Thanks for that, Paulette. Appreciate you. Guys, things are happening. Things are definitely happening. I've given you a lot of information to ponder. Again, I'm going to ask you to share this information with everybody you know, your family and extended family. I'm going to ask you to share it with your neighbors, your friends, your social media contacts, and even the people you work with. We're trying to save lives here. The further out that this goes, the better off everybody is. I promise you. We need to share this information like wildfire itself. Yes, we have wildfires in Northern California, in Oregon, and in Washington. We're going to see wildfires everywhere pretty soon. We're going to see wildfires everywhere. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now, guys, towards the end of our programs, we usually have a short devotional. Tonight's devotional comes from the St. John chapter 5. I'm going to verse 19 for this. In verse 18, actually, let's go back to just let me give you some history here. Christ had healed some people. The Sadducees and Pharisees that didn't like Christ started belittling him. They didn't understand what he was doing, but they saw people being healed. They didn't like it. Afterward, Jesus findeth him in the temple and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto thee. The man departed and told the Jews that he was Jesus, which had made him whole. Wherefore did the Jews persecute Jesus and sought to slay him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. But Jesus answered them, My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making him equal with God. Then this famous verse in verse 19. Then answered Jesus and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. Jesus was only doing what his Father did, what our Heavenly Father wants us to do. Jesus was healing people. Jesus was helping people. Jesus and our Heavenly Father want us to do the same thing. They want us to do the same thing, even on Sundays. On Sundays, we can visit the sick. We can visit the afflicted. We can go to Senior Citizen Center and visit with them that don't get out very much. People deserve to have families. People deserve to have people around them. Let us not isolate anybody that could be within the sound of our voice or even our feeling here with us. Let's make sure that we go out to the masses. Let's make sure that we tell people about our Savior Jesus Christ. Let's share the good word of the scriptures with everybody we come in contact with. Let's do our Heavenly Father's work. We've seen Jesus do it, now let's us do it as well. Okay? I can't tell you how important that is. There are millions of people around the world that do not even know Christ. One might ask, Ron, why do you say that? Because I have met people that did not even know who Christ was. Back in Sweden, I met people that did not even know who Christ was, and I know for a fact that some people also live here in the United States and even in England, over in Wales, Ireland, Iceland. There are people in those countries that have not even known the Savior as well. Russia. Russia doesn't want anybody knowing about Jesus Christ, let alone going to church. Russian Orthodox Church only has people when the Russian government allows them to go to church. So let's share the gospel of Jesus Christ as far as we can, guys. Let's be saviors in our own kingdoms here. Let's be saviors on Mount Zion. I'm not talking about us becoming Jesus Christ. I'm talking about us doing the Savior's work. That's what I'm talking about. Let's be saviors of our own families on Mount Zion. Okay? Let's do that. Guys, if anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. I promise you that. That's what we do. Tonight or tomorrow morning, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it once the information becomes available. Earthquakes are still happening off the southeast part of the Kamchatka Peninsula. These are aftershocks. These are aftershocks. Most of these earthquakes are all 5.0 and large earthquakes. Yes, there are some moderate 4.0, 4.9, but most of these are just 5.0 and large earthquakes now. USGS is not showing them all. They never will. Since that was a major earthquake, we're going to have more and more aftershocks in that area. These aftershocks are going to last in that area for a very long time. USGS is only showing, like I said, 265 earthquakes worldwide. That's impossible. There are thousands of earthquakes worldwide. Thousands of earthquakes worldwide. We have tornadoes, we have cyclones, we have hurricanes coming in. We have a huge low pressure system off the state of Florida that is stranding residents from travel, stopping from going anywhere. We have water, rain here in South and North Carolina, flooding concerns. We have fire everywhere. Be safe out there. Be safe out there. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I care about each one of you, or I would not even be here. I love you. Folks, if you've appreciated anything we've done tonight, please give us a thumbs up. Please give us a thumbs up, and also make sure you share this program far and wide. We love you. God be with you this night. God be with you always. Share this program with your friends, guys, and your family. Make sure the people on the Nomad Fault know what's going on. If you have friends, if you have family members in those areas, in those states, make sure they know what's going on. I didn't even get over to Louisiana, but guess what? We have 3.0 earthquakes in Lafayette, Louisiana. 3.0 small quakes in Lafayette and DeRidder, Louisiana. Fact. North to south on the Nomad Fault from Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, all the way south to the Gulf of America. Be safe out there, guys. We love you very much. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, folks. Love you very much. See you soon. Thanks for being here.